this is the second to last part of the cycle of 15. So let's just take a look back briefly. What we got? I'm no human woman.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Thank you, Madame. I should call you. I understand why Americans shoot people.
People might think you're an asshole.
I know, I'm just fucking with you. A bunch of nuns dressed like us. Clickbait, right? Penultimate, orgasmic, and unreachable. And of course there was...
Oh, death, pride!
I'm no shade. I'm living. You can't blame Constantine for all of it. Pet Shop Boys. All right. I'm sure that was fun for Editor Ed to do. A little bit of fun. But there will be a video. Oh, that's the end of the chicken wheel cycle up next. Oh, you know what's a fun thing that I've decided? I almost forgot. It's at this point in the episode, in the red and white episodes. So Gwydion, red, white, because it's I Ching now, because it's I Ching. This is the first red and white episode with the I Ching, because it's the second I Ching episode. The point is that now's the point in the episode where we do this.
I come, my light is with you.
And 2,000 years later, there was Gnostic Chuck E. Cheese and Orthodox Chuck E. Cheese.
Trust I seek, and I find in you.
And fully revealed himself to me. Knock it off, editor.
He became sick from longing for man.
On the right side of the thumbnail here. Take a position, Martin. Stick to it, would you? That's right. Small seal. This drop of liquid iron fell between our embrace from our mother. If there's at least one level of irony there. So that was, and now there's an echo because I'm up there at the same time that I'm down here. Isn't that kind of fun? So that is the incomplete cycle of 15. That is 14 of the 15. So next time it's going to be the end of the cycle of 15. The green and yellow episode in which Frater BT reads Meccan Revelations. All right, so now the other thing about the red and white episode is we do this. Halloween. We just finished the Halloween of 2515, and we're beginning something like the Christmas of 2515, Christmas of 2515, something like that. P and I live in the part of India where Christmas is bigger than Diwali. You know, the Portuguese Catholics came and settled here some 500 years ago, and so now, you know, you drive around, there's old churches and they're decorated with Christmas lights, and it's an awkward feeling. You kind of don't know how to feel, at least especially for the first year or so of living here, but then you kind of get used to it. You meet a lot of like Indian Catholics who are celebrating Christmas, and you know, it just sort of becomes normal. Growing up in California, of course, you think of it one way, reading about it in the history books, and go, those fucking British, you know. Anyway, I've talked about this before. I'm not going to belabor that point. But the point is, yeah, it's a Christmas theme. So throughout this next couple months, or this next month, you'll see images like this. He has stolen our troops and vehicles and territory and storehouses and granary, and he has killed my parents. This could be a time when I could show my wrath. End quote within quotes. And he drew his sword from its sheath.
Prepare to die.
Then, monks, it occurred to Prince Digavu, quote within quotes, my father spoke to me thus at the time of his dying, quote within quote within quote. Do not you, dear Digavu, look far or close, for, dear Digavu, wrathful moods are not allayed by wrath. Wrathful moods, dear Digavu, are allayed by non-wrath. End quotes, within quotes, within quotes. It would not be suitable for me to transgress my father's words. End quote, within quotes. And he replaced his sword in its sheath. I need to wipe off my reading glasses. So, yes. I think Edward did a good job in that previous Carl Jung episode of kind of redefining our mission statement. Because sometimes I feel like when I'm in the middle of a thought or a pause, I feel conscious, like, oh, I got to fill in that space with something. But I think it was a good reminder that no, let's pretend that we're not on YouTube. Let's pretend that we're in a room and that it would be normal to stop and ponder every now and again. Anyway, I thought of something to fill this space while I was cleaning my glasses. Are you impressed? Sort of meta, filling it with... Never mind that. Oh, I forgot I was going to use cobalt. In ancient times, most authors were supposed to be, I will not say godlike, but actually gods. As, for instance, the Egyptian Hermes, to whom Plato paid very great deference. End quote. I remember one time I was doing some kind of hypnosis thing as a teenager, and it came out of it saying some shit like that my father was the keeper of the runes and the stories of the tribe of Vikings, and I learned the runes, but I was using them to tell my own stories, so I got kicked out of the tribe because that was like blasphemy or something. Anyway, I don't know. Some crazy teenager, new ager, nut bullshit, no doubt. Or maybe it's true. I don't know. Or download from the collective unconscious, or just overactive imagination, perhaps. Who knows? Who could empirically affirm this situation as a single gallon? And who could pay homage to it as the whole ocean? In conclusion, is the layman realizing the truth, or are the mountains and waters realizing the truth? I think it might have been Dogen who said something to the effect of, am I gazing at the wall, or is the wall gazing at me? Something. It's very inspiring. I used to sit zazen gazing at a wall at lunch break at work, and that came to mind at that time. How could anyone who has clear eyes not put on their eyes at once and look at the manifestation of the long tongue? Heaven? Okay.
Ooh, heaven is a place on earth. They say.
Okay, the heaven, earth is later. We're going to go in order, so, you know, and of course,
Just like heaven.
don't play too much of that one. I don't want to get this video too blocked, but I would be remiss if I didn't include... It certainly is now, isn't it, lady in the furnace in Eraserhead? All right, that's all the heaven songs I can think of. I'm sure there's others. Let's play one more.
Heaven, I'm in heaven.
No idea what you just heard. There's the mid-2515. There's still images for these and playlists. You can find the playlists on the main page for all of these, even if they haven't, they don't have compilation videos yet. Oh, apparently I made a compilation for mid-2515. So there's sporadic here and there. So, like, for example, the mid-2515, I don't know, I'm just pointing at times. Then the summer of 2515, haven't made the compilation video yet. The end of 4615, I have made the compilation video. And the beginning of 4715, that's when I turned 47. So remember when I turned 46 in a previous compilation video. Then there was the Halloween of 2515, and the one we're on now is the Christmas of 2515, and we're partway through that. There was a character called Bagu, but without the H, so Bagu rather than Bahagu. And so if that looks familiar, you have to go into the woods in Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, and get a letter from him and can cross the bridge into Death Mountain, if anybody was wondering. Okay, so at the time that I recorded this, I was thinking that it was going to be this guy. He's down there somewhere. So what he's making reference to is this, where you have to go and get a letter from him. It's like 1989, I think, that Zelda 2 Adventures of Link. But what I didn't know was that after that, Bagu was in a comic book, like a Zelda comic book, and they kind of fleshed out his character. And so it's that same guy, but he looks like this. So that's the Venerable Bagu on Buddhist Books Podcast is based on Bagu from the Legend of Zelda comic book.
Then the Venerable Bagu saw the Lord coming from afar.
Unite and twirl up at the top!
It twirled up!
Thank you. I've forgotten the name of that actress. Meryl Streep's mother. In the movie, not in real life. Never mind. I think, wasn't she the daughter? Something about Mommy Dearest? There's some kind of drama there. Anyway, Shirley MacLaine is the one who said it twirled up. Okay, so Mommy Dearest was an expose about Joan Crawford, written by her daughter Christina Crawford. And then later, much later, Shirley MacLaine's daughter, Sashi Parker, wrote a tell-all memoir about her mother, Shirley MacLaine, and a lot of, tabloids and articles said that she was giving her the Mommy Dearest treatment. So that's where the connection was. Sorry. Parentheses, concentric end parentheses. According to one of my former teachers...
That is Alex.
It certainly is. It certainly is. What? Yeah, so he was the one who got me into Eastern Orthodoxy, and then I eventually joined the Russian Catholic Church to try to bridge the gap between him and the Catholic emperor of the cult. It was a long time ago. It's a different time. Anyway, it was right around the time I was born. If that didn't make sense, click right there. Yeah, that event, the birth of Edward, was a couple months after my chrismation into the Russian Greek / Roman Catholic Church. I was all right at the same time. Huh. Anyway, so I was before that I was filming videos for the church. I was filming videos of the Russian church in which I wore the hat and was Gwydion, and then also making art walk videos. And so the people were like, yes, he's a very colorful individual, but there was no Edward online yet. So hence the character of Edward hadn't been created yet. Anyway, what am I talking about? It doesn't matter.
Beholding the Bodhisattva's feat of archery, the astonished enemy withdrew, and on the hero's head reposed an 11-headed crown, his body spangled with eyes, and his fame as an armed warrior was widely proclaimed. Of the history unabridged, of the lives of the Guru of Udayana, Padmasambhava, this is the 42nd canto. The invading army, driven from Zahur, sealed oaths.
That the Kabbalion was dog shit. And I was like fully convinced that was going to be how we were going to open today's episode until I woke up. Now it's interesting because throwing out an idea like that or self-censoring in any way is usually an Edward thing. But it's my turn to read, and I chose not to do that today. For a couple reasons. One, I haven't read it all the way through. Two, I haven't read it at all in probably more than 25 years. And 3, like, why? People, you know, like sometimes people will read something and they'll be really moved by it, and they'll say, wow, this is really something. And the thing is, I used to run into a thing back in the day when I was a teacher in a Hermetic order, so-called, or whatever, you know, where people would say, oh yes, Hermeticism. I know a lot about Hermeticism. I've read the Kybalion. Or they'd say, you know, if you want to learn about Hermeticism, then really you should read the Kybalion. That's really where you should start. Or they'll talk about the 7 principles or 11 principles of Hermetic principles or whatever, as if it were a thing beyond this one book that was published like 100 years ago by 3 anonymous guys who call themselves Moses. And it's like, all right, record's a little sketchy when you go that far back, but apparently there were kings and it was fucked, and so they came up with this whole like republic situation, formula, management thing, and they were like, fucking no kings. And then someone came along and was like, yeah, but we're bringing kings back. It might sound familiar for some of you. Anyway, but aside from that, yeah, it seems to me that the whole thing about the I Ching following the sage, it implies to me like a situation where perhaps somebody was like, there's too many false sages, there's too many charlatans, and people are falling for them and being led astray. What is a way that I can teach people to follow their inner sage, to follow the sage that looks over the universe in silence and invisible, and follow good advice for their lives without being led by these charlatans? I have an idea. I Ching. So you know what I'm saying? You see the comparison where the Roman Republic and the I Ching both imply an earlier situation that wasn't ideal? End quote. Those are 2 separate wrongdoings, by the way. Standing with your arms akimbo is one wrongdoing, and looking people in the eye, that's another wrongdoing. Like strangers, when you're a monk, walking around in a village in those days. Yeah. Anyway, you're supposed to keep your eyes one, like the length of a plow or hoe, on the ground in front of you while you walk. Anybody seen Kung Fu, the old show from the 70s? At one point he meets somebody who tells him to stop doing that. Look up toward the sun. Anyway, don't listen to that guy, listen to Lord Buddha. Cain. Sorry, where were we? Quote, but what line of conduct, Lord, is to be followed in regard to material gains? End quote. Probably meaning here food and clothing. End quote. Don't interrupt me with a footnote for a probably, Miss Horner. Please. And thank you. With respect. It's one of those things where when a mystic type or religious type or Carl Jung says, I asked the spirit, I asked God, I asked my soul, I asked the universe this question, and it replied, like, we're quoting Ibn Arabi. Ibn Arabi says that he heard these words in his head. That means Ibn Arabi wrote this. So we'll start with a little bit of Ibn Arabi. Contemplate the house. For sanctified hearts, it shines openly. They look at it through God without a veil, and its august and sublime secret appears. Anyway, enough about that. For anybody who has a knee-jerk reaction against me wearing a corporate logo, I have to apologize. I couldn't find my Hebrew Coca-Cola shirt. That's what this is, by the way. In the background, behind the Byzantine cross, that's a Hebrew Coca-Cola shirt. Can we find the whole thing somewhere? Anywhere? Yeah. 4th of July. Never mind. It makes sense in my head, but I don't know if it just kind of gets crickets. But crickets, to me, that's the equivalent of thunderous applause. So I'm aiming for crickets. Okay, what are we doing? This is here. Oh, this reminds me. Spirited Away. Let's put him down here. And no, let's get rid of him.
It is like the times when great clouds cover the sun. Unless the wind blows, the sun will not appear. There is no large and small in prana wisdom, because all sentient beings have of themselves deluded minds. They seek the Buddha by external practice and are unable to awaken to their own natures. But even these people of shallow capacity, if they hear the sudden doctrine and do not place their trust in external practices, but only in their own minds, always raise correct views in regard to their own original natures, even these sentient beings, filled with passions and troubles, will at once gain awakening.
You know, this might be a very clear demonstration of how, with the stroke of a pen, a divine name or two, or a name of a divine being, however you want to look at it, can be turned demonic, much in the same way as perhaps Astarte or Lilith. So what? Well, you know, so if you're gonna disregard an entire belief system or scripture based on the demonizing of holy beings, then, you know, while you're at it, you better disregard all of Judaism and probably all of Christianity and Islam. The other thought was, if you consider that, you know, perhaps imagine there was a person who was gay back then, and someone told them, you know, Yahweh and Elohim told us that we have to murder you with rocks pelted at you. And then you picked up a pen and decided to pen your own version of the scripture, and decided to do dirty the ones who were going to do you dirty. I'm just saying, it's not as simple as, these are divine names that I've uttered in a temple. Mr. BT, maybe expand your horizons and allow for a little more nuance. Expand a little further if you're willing to allow fucking orthodoxy into your comfort zone. Maybe allow heresy as well.
Whew. All right, we did it. We accomplished our goal for today, which was to finish reading the introduction, so that next time, in part 4 of the Divine Pymander of Hermes Trismegistus, our very own Frater BT, who surrendered, you remember, in his episode, he gave his reading spot over to Pymander. So this is actually going to be BT's first proper episode, and he gets to be the first one to actually read the translation. No introduction. No whoever that guy was. Mr. Anonymous Christian guy. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you had a merry holidays and whatnot yesterday. I'm recording this the day after Christmas. And all right. Next time it'll be Gwydion doing an actual I Ching reading, because that's what we've decided is that's what he'll do when it's his turn. And this is the third to last. He'll be doing the red and white. This was what? I'm Edward, that's blue. And it was Divine Pymander, that's orange. This was a blue and orange episode. That'll be the red and white, Gwydion doing I Ching, followed by BT doing Mech and Revelation, and that'll be the end of the Christmas of 2515. And now, for the first time, we're going to pull out the 5th book. See what that looks like, that visual? That's what it's going to be like for a while as we read the 5th book. should we get started? Now I'm going to start to understand eventually what we're going to call it. Now, with this one, I'm skipping the introduction. I've got it. I have to skip the introduction. Because with a lot of things on another channel and with other books on this channel, the introduction might be like, okay, what does this person have to say? But I don't care what people in Britain in 1930s have to say about what I'm reading, which is the TV talk. You know what I mean? Like, I hope they did a good job translating it, but I don't need to hear their whole story about, oh, you wouldn't believe the lady that found this, and, you know, like, whatever. Okay, so this is called the Lesser Division. Kula Vaga. Part 1. But you already knew that. That's the name of this episode. Kula Vaga 1. I like it. Okay. And then when we get to the 14th part of the cycle 15, then you get to hear a little bit of an echo as the thing above my head fades out in the thumbnail in between the wheel and the... What did you think of adding Buddhist books? It's no longer 15, but it's 15 chicken philosophy. But I don't know what it was last time. It was that number, right? Wasn't it? Yeah. All right, now is the point in the episode where we do this. Islam and Judaism, you know. My dad was pretty weird. Elohim and Yahweh? Oh, yeah, they were... People who say this is pre-Christian or don't know what they're talking about. It's obviously Christian, but not enough for me. Directing traffic in the direction it was already going. Thanks, Jesus. Yeah, sure. Why not? The truth is in me. I am. I believe the don't see. Oh. A fish in the sky. Gwydion, Edward. Well, it goes Edward, Gwydion, then me. And then there's the thing. Hey, yeah, okay. If you got that music, you know this music playing in your head right now? You're like, yes. What? ChatGPT version -5, you know? All right. And now you can see up above, I'm in the middle of the 14th of the 15th, so this would have been a little like sneak preview of an upcoming compilation video that's going to happen after the next episode, which is 15th of 15. So, after the red and white, at the end of the red and white we do that, that's a thing we do. And then after the green and yellow, which is BT reading Mech and Revelations, then the real compilation video comes out. How I name things. So these are the thumbnails for the previous cycles of 15, including one that is 12 and one that is 6. But they count as cycles of 15 because I say so. So, so there's after this one, then BT is going to read Mech and Revelation. Then after that, the metaphorical 15 will come out. But before that, for the red and white, we're going to do a very quick, brief look back at the first 14 of the cycle of 15 that we're in the middle of, including this one, and let's do that right now. So, what the fuck? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Is this really... No, I didn't move the sticky. I'm rereading stuff that I read last time. Oh my god, you gotta move the sticky. Heaven and thunder, right? Water, mountain, earth, wind, and fire. So let's do them one at a time. Heaven, Chien. We'll work on our pronunciation later. Thunder, Chen. Water, Ka'an, K''A''N. Mountain, Ken. Earth, Ku'un. Wind, Sun. Fire, Li. And today, lake, Tui.
meaning of life is in the eye of the beholder. It's a little bit of a grading on a curve because I want to like the Pymander. We finished the 8 trigrams. Well, we finished reading about the hexagrams that are the trigrams stacked on top of themselves. Welcome back. This is Chicken Philosophy. Gaia was where he had attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, and then Sarnath was where he started teaching to go straight to the unknowable, unfathomable Father. Alright, that was fun. And now, as you can see, we're in the 14th one. That's the one that's this. Hey, Editor Edward.
Yes?
Am I correct in assuming that this is the first time ever that you and I have spoken while this is up above my head?
It is!
Yeah. So that's fun, right?
Pretty fun.
Alright. Anyway, so those are the previous 14 episodes if you want to check.
And so now is the point in the episode. Indeed, now is the point in the cycle of 14, because we're on the 14th of the 14th. I mean, the cycle of 15. There's 15 total. But in the 14th one, which this is, at the end, which this is, now is the point in the episode where we do this.
Being self-aware.
Carl Jung's Red Book. The Gospel of Philip. Thank you, Eddie Murphy. Sort of nightmares about, like, being the devil's best friend. A wealthy hen house pokes ironically, much like some cream. I feel better. The prophet was a man subject to emotions, as are all men. What? Yes, he could feel satisfaction. And anger. Yes, he fills me with his wishes. I can't accept this. Yes. Put a rubber on it. No. Okie dokie. It's a little better. That indicates that the whole island can suddenly blow up. Inside the chalice of Christ. It behooves to pray to obtain the beautiful mind.
A beautiful mind.
Well, that one was a little more musical. A lot of musical numbers popping in and out and all that. Alright, I hope you enjoyed it. I wonder if we're even going to be able to make that into a short, considering they've got the short agreement for 60 seconds or less with the record companies. And so if you go to 61 seconds and you use a song that you can use in a long-form video or in a 60-second short, it won't work in a 61-second short. So, I don't know. Editor Edward's going to have to figure all that shit out.